Hello and welcome back everybody. We have a new Sonyphile video and overview, and possibly a small project. Now recently I went to my previous place of employment, and someone dropped off the Sony monitor to get recycled. I haven't seen one of these in person, at least not that I can recall, especially from this size and this layout, so I was kind of curious. I ended up looking it up, and evidently this model was made somewhere between 2002 and 2003, at least the design of the model. The resolution seems to be 1920 by 1200, so almost 1080p, and it has two inputs on the back, or kind of four. We'll get to that eventually. Now the unit does power on, and I have plugged it into something to see if it works, but it sounds like to run such a high resolution from the age that it was made, it has a little fan in it. It's running kind of rough, so I'm assuming it overheated for them, and that's what caused them the issues. Now it is set to go to sleep mode relatively quick, and I don't know if that caused any confusion with them using it, or if they were just upgrading and deciding to get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is clean this up, move all these stickers, get it kind of dusted, and see if I can open it up and clean out the insides as well. Another reason I want to work on this project is for two reasons. I've been using these old Dell monitors because I haven't been able to budget a proper newer monitor that's 1080p. And these are 1600 by something. So not only are these monitors that use DisplayPort, DVI, and VGA newer, but they're also a lower resolution than this professional monitor from 2002. Unfortunately, my main computer's motherboard seems to have audio driver issues with the output, so I can't use the speaker on this Dell monitor anyway. So my plan is to clean this off and use this as my new primary display for whenever I do video editing and such, until I possibly get a more modern monitor. People that are younger probably won't know this, but this is actually pretty impressive specs. The fact this is almost 1080p from 2002 and includes DVI is rather impressive. Most monitors at that time were still just standard definition, usually 4:3 aspect ratio. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off, I'm going to wipe it down a little bit, and we'll see if I can open the back up. Before we go much further, I want to point out this has a back panel, like some of the monitors that I've dealt with in the late 2000s and early 2010s. It kind of just pops off, it suctions into place at these 5 points, and kind of keeps all the cables and stuff tucked in. Be cleaning off this Apple sticker. I don't know if they had it hooked up to a Mac Mini or something, or a Mac Pro. That's very possible. So I'll clean this off, I'll wipe this down, and knowing Sony, they probably have a way to pop this off to get inside of it. Okay, so before I set this down fully, I'm going to take some bed sheets and kind of just lay them down so it doesn't scrape up itself or the desk. I realize I meant to say pillow sheets. So we can actually see all the inputs. Here's where the 3-prong power cable goes in. And then over here we have 2 VGA cables and then 2 DVI cables. So what's kind of weird is you use either or. So you can either use DVI or VGA for input 1, or this DVI or this VGA for input 2. You can't really mix them, so you have one or the other. Still, for 2002, that's rather impressive. Also, looks like I could possibly pop this off. Yep, this pops off, I can clean that. And that lets me kind of access the stand part of it and clean that as well. I shouldn't have to worry about that too much. I'll probably have to pop it off to get this back panel off. But besides that and cleaning, I don't think this will be a difficult task. And while we're here, we might as well look at the back label. Looks like this particular one's made in July in 2003. So this one's about 18 years old. Well, it's over 18 years old. We see the model number and then the type of monitor it is. Looks like this can also do PAL frequencies, so it's 50 to 60 Hertz. So this should do PAL or NTSC VGA. And nice, this one was actually manufactured in Japan. Okay, so what I'm going to do is remove the bottom stand or leg part. You can actually see the 4 screws that hold it in place right there. And this feels like it's a bit metal and plastic mixed. So this would actually be rather sturdy compared to stuff that you might find today. Before I continue much further, while I was taking this off, I realized that there's a power switch over on the side to turn this on and off. Alright, this should just slide off and out. Yep. I can set this to the side to get cleaned as well. Now it doesn't look like it's going to be too hard. I think there's just a screw here, 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 and there. And I think there's just those 4 screws, and I should be able to pop off this back panel, I think. I don't know if anything else will be obstructing my way. I'll probably have to slide this. Oh, I don't have to slide it. It looks like there's an actual slot for that, so that's cool. Put this out of the way. Looks here. Looks like the whole I/O board is here. Power seems to be in this whole area, and it looks like there might be some processors or something. I'm not sure. Might have to take this off to get to another part of these cages that kind of put the stuff in place. Might as well take a closer look at this board while we have the chance. Alright, so this one's the I/O board. It's easy to tell because literally all the inputs are on it. This little thing looks like it's supposed to vent out to the one bottom. It's just a little plastic cover. I'll actually wipe it down. I did wipe down some of the other stuff off camera, so I'll set that aside. I don't see a fan in there at all. You can clearly see pretty much everything inside of the shielding cage. So I'm going to imagine the fan might be under this stuff, so let me unscrew it. Alright. Now that is dusty, and I was right. There is the fan. Everything else looks pretty good, but that thing seems to be caked on with 20 years of dust. So what we'll do is clean this out and see if it sounds much better. Now I'm not an expert on all these parts, and I'll never pretend to be, but this is obviously the power supply in this whole unit. There's where the 3-prong plugs in and converts the power over. Here's the power switch. The fan probably helps cool all this because it's pretty advanced for its time. Then the I/O board stuff's over here. It doesn't look like we'll have to actually worry about that at all. And this board, I think, actually controls the LCD panel. A lot of LCD panels have like a little control board, and I don't see any touching the exact unit. So I'm assuming it's this that's routed in and connects on both ends to kind of control everything. Looks like the power for the LCD runs through here over to there. So give me a second to clean that out and we'll get going. Forgot to hit play, but that's going through a little scrub of the fan, so that fan is definitely gunked up. That would explain the fact that the fan sounds pretty loud whenever it runs. This thing's a little heavier than it looks. It's mostly metal. Like, besides the plastic bezels, this is just all metal and motherboard. But yeah, it looks a lot better than it did before. Yeah, that stuff was gunked to hell. I'm going to chuck this out. I might spray a little bit of contact cleaner in there, in case anything's gunky. And none of the caps actually look bad from here. I don't see any swollen ones. I can't see the underside of them, but the upper part all looks fine. I don't see any burnt parts or anything. Okay, so we're going to plug it in and we'll see how it sounds now. You can still hear the fan, but it's not as bad as it was before. It's probably going to need a little bit to cycle before it cools down. And I don't have anything plugged in, so I went to sleep mode like I did before. Alright, so this part isn't necessary at all, but I'm just curious to see what the main board looks like for the I/O input. Because it looks like there's the dedicated chip there that kind of manages everything. Like 1 or 2 other chips, I think. So we're going to just pop this off and take a look. I'm going to get a photo of it. Okay, using the right size, I was able to pop that off pretty easily. It doesn't look like there's really much dust in there. I'm gonna guess that's the primary processing chip. There's also a few connectors that don't seem to be attached to anything, so they might have been connected to stuff in higher end units, or for flashing it, or for diagnostics. I don't know. I don't have the schematics on this unit, so I can't really tell. But man, it's just kind of interesting to look at. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this stuff down a little bit, and then we'll put it all back together, and this will be my new primary display. Okay, now that we have everything together, I'm going to take this, I'm going to remove the old Dell monitor that I was using, which oddly enough is actually newer and has DisplayPort compared to the other one, but it's a low resolution. And that bad boy over there is going to be my new primary display for when I make videos for you guys. Okay, I still gotta wipe it out and kind of scrape these off, but we should be getting a signal. Yeah, that is definitely a better resolution and better looking monitor than my previous one. I know that stuff always doesn't show up as well on camcorder as it does in person, but trust me, that's a much sharper image. Another thing I noticed is this person had it set up for max brightness. You don't want to really do that unless the thing's fading and about to die, because that gave it like a washed out look. Right now it looks perfectly fine, and I'll be doing it a little bit in the dark, so you don't want to really hurt your eyes that much. But that's about it. I gave you guys a basic overview. I'm not going to try to show the different inputs and outputs. I might as well show you the menu though. Alright, so we have backlight, contrast, brightness adjustments, the color spectrum, the gammas, and then that's for horizontal or vertical adjustment if you're using VGA. You can set the input priorities for input 1 and 2 to either DVI over VGA, because it's either or, it's not both. And then there's menu position, menu lock, and that's about it. Here's also the button to adjust the input to 1 and 2. Or it looks like it does something in the menu when you have it on that. Here's the input button, here's the auto button, and it looks like there's an eco mode. Makes it slightly dimmer, so I might just leave it on that. Well, I'll slowly be scraping off the stickers and stuff. I'm not going to show that in the video to save time, but there gives you a basic overview of the monitor and shows you guys how I've upgraded my setup. That's rubbing alcohol, so don't worry about it dripping. So this is a TFT LCD color computer monitor, or computer display that is. I don't recall what TFT stands for off the top of my head. And this particular model is an SMD-P232W. I actually noticed inside of it that the LCD has stickered on it which revision it is for the main display. So it looks like this one's revision B. Alright guys, so I'm going to use this to actually make this video. I'm going to scrape all these stickers off. And I'll see you again soon with some more PlayStation 2 related things. I hope you all take care. And take care.